This is our Kia EV9, of which we've owned for just over a year now and about 9,000 miles. And as you guys can probably tell, this is our daily dog hauler for these two boys, Mr. Charlie and Mr. Oliver. And we have been absolutely loving our Kia EV9. I'm going to be doing a full 1-year ownership review, but one thing I want to talk to you guys about is how I maintain the interior of the vehicle here with these two very furry boys, as well as how the interior is actually holding up. When we first initially got this car, one concern I had was some of the interior materials not being of the highest quality, and I was curious to see how it's going to hold up with these two boys. So we're going to be going through cleaning up the EV9 and then giving you kind of a review after some serious abuse of this interior. Welcome back, and let's jump into it. Well, I already know what you guys are probably thinking, and that is, how does a professional detailer that is obviously very nerd level 9000 detailing, if you've ever watched this channel before, very particular and spend so much time cleaning cars, how would you possibly ever deal with having two very fluffy, very dirty, oftentimes, golden retrievers that you actually put in your cars? Well, reality is, my wife and I just absolutely love the dogs. We take them everywhere with us. In fact, the boys typically come to the shop with me 5 to 6 days a week at this point now, because my wife works crazy schedule right now. I'm working a crazy schedule right now, doing a full-time detailing business, full-time YouTube content as well, and we're just busy. So instead of the boys sitting at home, I bring them to the shop. They're able to hang out here with Dad. I can, give them water, let them go outside, and it's nice having the boys here with me, especially on a very, very long day. Unfortunately, though, that means that our cars see a lot of just dog in general. So we ended up getting this EV9 just over a year ago now. Reason being is my wife was in a Volkswagen ID4 at the time, and we absolutely love that car. There was no real huge issues with it, other than when last year we got Oliver, added him to the family. Once he started to get a little bit full grown, we at that point had 3 full-size golden retrievers. The ID4 got very small. We love to take them up to the mountains, go on trips with them, bring them places, just even going to breweries here in Colorado or dinner or whatever it is, and actually bring them with us. And the ID4 started feeling very, very cramped with 3-size golden retrievers, and we couldn't really carry luggage with us. It just became uncomfortable. So I said, well, why don't we look at the EV9? It's got great AC inside. It's got ample space for them. They can each kind of pick a seat in the 3rd row. I think this will be great. And we absolutely loved it. Now, unfortunately, earlier this year, we had our oldest golden retriever, Stella, pass away. So we're now down to just the 2 boys, but doesn't mean they still don't love their 3-row electric SUV here. Now, one of the concerns I had with the Kia EV9 was a little bit on the interior side, and that is just the use of some kind of cheaper interior materials, if I'm honest. This is the cheapest 3-row electric SUV you can currently purchase. Now, it can all depend on trims. Basically, the highest trim kind of stops where the Rivian R1S starts, but I really thought this was a good kind of in general car for us. And if you didn't know, these things were leasing out like crazy when we actually ended up leasing into this vehicle, about $299 a month with very, very little out of pocket, including taxes and fees here in Colorado. It's an insane value for that price point. So we have been absolutely loving this car. Like I said, I will be doing a full 1-year review talking about the driving dynamics of it, the software, the things I love, the things I don't like, and the things I absolutely hate about this car. In general, though, I can tell you, really, really love the EV9, and my wife absolutely loves this thing. But again, going back, the thing I was kind of concerned about was the more economy spec of this interior, not having the highest quality premium materials. And there's another car in this segment of which I think has probably one of the best interiors in all of the automotive landscape, being the Rivian R1S and R1T, but for this example, in a 3-row SUV, the R1S. Rivian has done such an amazing job at making a very premium interior that you can actually go adventure with. And what I mean by that is you can throw dogs in there. You can throw your hiking boots, you can go camping in it. It feels premium, but it's also rugged. And the most important thing for me is it cleans up extremely well. And that's one thing I was very, very concerned about. All of these kind of cheap plastics down here, how would it do with the boys' nails? Of course, as you can see, lots and lots of dog hair in here. The one thing is, our dogs use these cars like a frickin' jungle gym, especially this little guy over here. This being Oliver, he is just everywhere. He's in the second row, in the third row. Then he loves sitting up front as well. And as you can tell, he's walking all over this. You can see nail marks there. So I'll be curious to show you guys what that actually looks like when we get it cleaned up. But again, we use these cars as utility vehicles. These are not meant to be perfect, pristine show cars. I would like to be able to clean these cars a little bit more often, but again, I'm just working so much. The last thing I want to do after I've, just spent 8-10 hours a day detailing cars is go and clean our cars. So unfortunately, these cars don't get all the love they really need and desire. Now, this being a lease, I've heard a lot of you say in the comment section, oh, you're going to get crazy dinged for, just destroying the interior. I think you'll be surprised with how well these interiors clean up. Again, though, you can see the back seats. They've just got dirt and grime everywhere. You've got marks everywhere. You've got hair everywhere. And these were the areas I was really concerned about. All of these very cheap plastics with the boys getting in and out of the car. And as you can tell here, I actually don't use anything like a pet liner in here because I just find they're kind of annoying. It's really weird, especially having a captain's chair here to have like the full section. The boys are never comfortable. I want them to be able to lay on the floor back here, lay in the center, lay in the third row. They like to sit in the seats, look out the windows. These cars are really meant for our dogs. So what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to go through, show you kind of some things that I do to clean our cars, the materials, the process, and all of the chemicals involved. And then I'll give you a full review afterwards of what the interior is actually looking like. Because like I said, this thing's been used and abused. As of recent, since last time I actually cleaned this car up, the boys went swimming at a lake. They were sandy, wet, nasty. They jump in the car and yeah, it can get pretty gross in here. So let's get this thing cleaned up and show you what this thing actually looks like after a year and 9,000 miles with 3, now down to 2 dogs, and see how it's really looking. The first thing I always do when starting an interior detail, especially with this amount of dirt and grime, dog hair in it, is start out with a Vacuum-Aid Garage Vac Pro. So what I'll go through and do is as much hair and in these cracks and crevices I possibly can, get out as much of this stuff. It really doesn't make sense to come in here with a bunch of cleaners, start spraying it down. You're just moving dog hair around. Now, one of the things inside of here that I kind of wish I wouldn't have done this year is actually put the carpet mats in here, because not necessarily that they get dirty, but man, the dog hair gets really, really stuck in this. Now, interestingly enough, other areas like this, the normal Kia carpet is really not that bad in terms of vacuuming up dog hair. You can use, some other tools as well. This carpet is absolutely terrible for it. So fortunately, I think we're going to be swapping over here in about a month or so to the all-weather floor mats, and I'll probably leave them in there for next summer and basically forever, however long we have this car. But again, you can also see we've got areas like this with cloth in here, so we want to go through, vacuum as much as possible of this. We've got more cloth in areas like this. So let's go through, get as much of this dirt and grime out before we ever even really start cleaning. So I just spent, I don't know, between 20 to 25 minutes fully vacuuming up the EV9. And one thing I really have to commend Kia on is actually the quality of their carpet. Yes, this is expensive for a Kia, but one thing I also have to tell you is that surprisingly, this is very high quality carpet. It's very fluffy and is actually relatively soft. So picking up any of my style dog hair is very simple to do. Rocks and all the stuff that gets in every single little nook and cranny very much vacuums up really, really easily. That also helps because I've got the Vacuum Aid Garage Vac Pro, one of the best professional as well as like home garage vacuum systems out there. The suction's crazy on it. Is just so darn impressive how well this works. The vacuum literally sucks. Now, one of the things with the EV9 that I really appreciate is it's very easy to work on. So you can open up this door wide. This door opens at kind of like an 80-degree angle, not quite 90, but you have easy access here. You also have easy access to areas like the third row here as well. So very easy to get in there and actually clean. And you can see with just 20 to 30 minutes of time, we were able to go in and probably remove 98 to 99% of all of the dog hair in here without using any extra tools, not blowing out the interior. This is strictly just vacuuming. You can see some little hairs here remaining like on the end, but the one thing I have to say, all of their carpets, even on the seat backs here, they really vacuum up dog hair quite easily. Now, if you do have a shorter hair dog or something like that, may become more of an issue. Other things I want to point out here in terms of the cleanability, and this is always a negative anytime you have air-conditioned seats. Very cool that this offers this in the first two rows, both heating and AC seats. The only negative behind that is, of course, your perforated seats. So these hold a ton of those little rocks and little crumbs. So if you have kids back here, if you have dogs jumping in and out, it just gets buried in these and it can be quite hard to actually pick it up. It's just something that happens with all cars with ventilated seats. The other thing I will say about Kia is all of these seams really hold a lot of stuff. This is not, you know, uncommon in the car industry. Some cars are easier to get in here. It's just kind of this material here. You can see this is their kind of synthetic vinyl leather, if you will, and it can get really tight here. It's not the best feeling material. We'll again talk more about this once we get into cleaning up the seats, but this material can be hard to spread here, and as you can see, still holds a lot of that crud in there. So what I always recommend doing is kind of doing this situation, pulling down on this, then you can get a vacuum in here to clean that up. If you didn't actually know, one common misconception or unknown fact, I guess would be a better way to say this, is all of this little stuff in here acts like sandpaper actually on all of those stitches in there. And one of the things that can cause your seats to break down rapidly over time is by having all those little rocks, all those little crumbs in there, because every time you get in, you're moving around the seat, you're driving down the road, hitting suspension bumps. Those are basically just sitting there filing away at all the stitching in here and actually cause the seat to pull apart. So very important to actually get in there and vacuum it. I would say Kia can be a little tricky with that. So now that we've got this thing mostly vacuumed, one area I do want to point out, this cloth, not the best. You can see still some dog hair remaining there. Can be a little hard to vacuum out. I do like having different accents like that. For me, the dogs are always kind of going between this area and especially down here, and they're looking pretty grungy and dirty. So I like the accent of the cloth. I just wish it was more this style material here, or maybe even something like this plastic aluminum down here to be able to just quickly wipe it away, because these definitely get a little bit dirty over time. Nonetheless, next what we're going to do is focus on the seats. Now, importantly, once we got all the dog hair out of here and most of the little rock debris and everything that's sitting in here and all the crumbs and stuff, you will notice the seats are looking dirty, but there is zero sort of kind of stretching on it and all of these kind of cracks that you would get on traditional leather. And that's one of the really big things that I've been really impressed with a lot of these synthetic or fake leather materials, is that you just don't have completely blown out bolsters. You can see even over there on the driver's seat, okay, you have a little crease there, but this thing with 10,000 miles, you would get, you know, like a Porsche Macan, this entire bolster would be blown out. It would look all wrinkly and nasty. That's why this material is so impressive. And I think you're going to be even more impressed with how easily these clean up and go back to basically looking brand new. So the plan here is going to be using Posh Interior Care, one of my absolute favorite interior cleaning products. It goes in there, breaks down that dirt, has some good enzymatic cleaner, so any sort of heavy, deeper stains, kind of neutralizes all of that, picks it up into the towel. Traditionally what I do, now a lot of detailers you'll see will, and I've done this in the past as well, you'll spray down a panel like this, you'll take some brushes, agitate it. I have found 90% of the time with Posh Interior Care, it is simply just a spray and wipe situation. So if you're doing, weekly maintenance details on your car, maybe every other week, you just quickly want to wipe down the interior, one of my favorite products to do so. So we'll split this seat in half, and some other areas I'll show you some nice 50/50s. Can't wait to actually show you what that's going to turn out like. So I want to showcase to you here 50/50 on how easily this stuff cleans up. So we're going to do this half of the seat. That'll be our before and our after. This is Posh Interior Care. And again, lots of reasons why I actually love this product and why I love actually cleaning up the EV9 interior. Super straightforward. It's basically a spray, wipe it, and it is 95 to 98% completely everything removed off of it. Now, one thing you will notice a lot of the times is if you get dog slobber and leave it, it can stain a little bit. So what I typically do when I actually do the interior, spray everything down, go wipe it, and then I'll come back to these areas and agitate these, and that'll come out. But most of the time on areas like this, it's a simple spray and wipe situation. So let's come in here. We're just going to spray this down. Yes, totally safe to get this wet like this. Not a big deal at all if it gets into the seat. This is also a product that you do not need to come back in and wipe it with a damp towel like a lot of its other competitors, things like that. So come in here. We're just going to scrub this down. Flip that over, you can see that dirt just coming off crazy quickly here. Then I'll flip this over, dry it, and look how that seat comes back to literally brand freaking new. Now it's still drying a little bit, but one thing I want to show you over here, you can really see how kind of greasy the seat is getting in those areas. It's kind of shiny. Pull it back over here. It's just nice satin and matte. And that was absolutely zero effort. No breaking out any sort of brushes, nothing like that. This seat looks absolutely perfect, feels perfect, extremely impressive how easily that stuff cleans up. Big difference between there, and again, you can really just see the amount of dirt and grime we simply pulled off of that. So this product can be used on pretty much every interior component, plastics like this. I wouldn't really use it on kind of gloss areas like this. You can use it, but to kind of do a finish wipe on it, I would come in here with something like a waterless wash, a light detail spray. Really, waterless wash is the best. The great thing also, areas like this, if you want to spot clean them, you can actually use Posh Interior Care on it. So when you're spraying this down, no worries about getting it on the cloth in these. A lot of the time, some cleaners will actually leave cleaner stains in them. It is extremely impressive. So again, just want to bring you back to this seat, how nice this looks, and then how shiny, dirty, gross, and nasty that looks. So next, let's move up here to the very disgusting armrest. So this is an exceptionally gruesome area, I would say. So I've also brought along with me some brushes. These are from Detail Factory. This is their interior scrub brush. Really helps kind of lift that dirt. A lot of the times you can just do a single wipe on stuff. I can tell you though, on these darker black areas with a lot of these kind of dog slobbers all over it, can kind of stay put. So what I'll do, I'm gonna come in here, spray this down. Also going to, off camera, spray a little into my little brush here. Come in, we're gonna agitate this down. Then we can grab our heavy duty interior scrub brush. We're really gonna agitate this. This is not a hugely foaming type interior cleaner like something like Posh, or not Posh, P&S Express Interior is, but it does an exceptional job at just lifting that dirt away, and easily cleaning it. Again, the beauty of this is not only the cleaner, but the actual interior here from Kia. Now I'm curious to see how this area cleans up with the kind of dog scratches on it, as I could see some nail prints and stuff back here. We'll let this dry and take a look at it. I think we're probably going to come in here for one more little clean just for this exceptionally dirty area. And we'll come in and wipe this down, let it dry, and I'll show you a little bit closer. So as you can see here, just those two very quick cleans, and we have a very, very big 50-50 on there, looking pretty crazy different to say the least. So again, very impressed actually with Kia's interior materials here. I really didn't expect them to be this easy to clean up, and honestly really expected this material to kind of break down over time. Just in the 10,000 miles or so, you know, 93, I think we're at 9,400 miles at this point now. I'm really impressed with how the interior has actually held up. Now, it's not to say it's actually perfect. I want to bring you back here to this one area. Also say hello to the little dogs. And back here is where I have actually seen a little bit of a nail scuff right there. So that is from one of the boys jumping in and has actually kind of piled up or peeled up that leather. Here's another spot right here as well. So it has kind of caught on there, and that's something on leather. If you had a full leather interior, letting these boys use this as a jungle gym like I do, these seats would show nail marks everywhere. So for me, big props for all of these synthetic vinyl, vegan leather interiors, whatever the heck you want to call them. They're extremely impressive. I again want to bring you back over here to this seat and just show you that little 50-50 on how nice this is looking. You can see it's literally from certain angles. Yeah, look how much lighter this area is. Again, that center area still holding some dirt and grime. It is exceptionally easy to clean, and I am just so impressed with how little nail marks it shows. Now, 2 of them I think is okay on that one seat, but that is a pretty crazy difference there. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time, quite a bit more time, going around here, just cleaning up all the stuff here. You can see all the dog slobber all over the dash. We'll talk about fingerprints and stuff on there, and kind of give you an overall feel of anything else that I can kind of bring up here. All right, well, just spent about, I don't know, give or take another 30 minutes going through just cleaning everything in the interior with our Posh interior care. And I guess in general, my overall feelings is I'm quite surprised how well this interior has held up. Like I said, when we originally got this car, I was a little concerned. A lot of the interior materials aren't of the highest quality here. Lots of plastic, was really worried about that. And overall, my feelings, especially with the seats, were not the most premium feeling, but I am happy to say they are wearing extremely well. Again, as I talked about earlier on in this video, as we got them cleaned up, the bolsters look brand new. The seats literally look brand new. Still have some dog hairs. We will never not have dog hairs in this car, but overall cleans up really nice, and it does feel quite durable. Now, that doesn't mean I'm pleased with every single material. There are definitely some areas of which I would like to see some improvements on, some kind of components I would like to see different types of materials. So let's quickly talk about those. So first off, obviously, as you know, a lot of folks really complain about having piano black. So Kia went ahead and instead of doing piano black, did this kind of glossy gray here. Now, the thing I'll tell you from my experience is, still gets lots of fingerprints, still shows scratches, but fortunately it doesn't show as much dust as the piano black. Now, personally, I just think it looks weird in our particular interior configuration. With the gray, you have more gray, still more gray, then you have black, more gray, and then a lot of gray. Like if you just look at the door panel, it just looks very plain, I guess would be the best way to say it. I do like the accents of some handles having the aluminum, basically aluminum plated plastic here, if you will, kind of to mimic that style. But then the important area is your switchgear here being all in this kind of satin black form, especially even here on the dash, all of these being in satin black. Big fan of those. The one thing that I personally don't love, this is a personal preference, is actually the satin screens on here. I find that they're okay, but they still show fingerprints, and for me, satin screens always look a little bit less clear. They always, I don't know, just look a little less premium in my personal impression. So that'd be one area that I'm kind of so-so on. I'm not exactly sure what I think Kia should do here on the material component. I don't really agree with going back to piano black, but I don't really think this gray works, especially over there on the steering wheel where you have, you know, actually a pretty nice steering wheel, but have a lot of those gray plastic pieces. Again, still see scratches, still see fingerprints. Just the best thing is they're not quite as apparent, but I don't know, I'm kind of 50-50 on them. The other areas which I'm kind of surprised have held up quite well are areas like the armrests. Now I am seeing, as this has kind of dried, there are actually a few nail marks in there, so do be cautious, I guess, about that. There's really no way around that for us. I mean, our boy Oliver, I try and keep him in the back seat as much as possible and not have him up front, but he loves to sit up here. Another area of which I don't really love on this particular car is how they've done these seatbelt kind of controls around it, or these protectors, if you will. So they put felt around it. Now I do like that because especially if this seatbelt isn't buckled, it's going to slap against that center console on the road, have some kind of NVH issues with that. So I am appreciative that they went and did that. Just for our use case with dogs, this is a pain in the butt. I could go a little crazier cleaning that, but those are some areas I've noticed. Other than that, coming back here, the main dog area, if you will, really impressed with how well this interior has held up. Again, I want to emphasize this. Our dogs are in and out of these cars all the time. When they get in these things, they are full launching up there. My boy Oliver likes to jump to the farthest seat. I mean, they literally use these cars like a jungle gym. And again, back here, you can see the seats look absolutely perfect, even without having any sort of protective covers. The only protective covers I've ever used in this car were actually on the floorboards using the all-weather mats. But even going into the third row here, everything is just looking brand new. I am just really impressed with how well this thing is holding up. I would say, again, of course, I still prefer Rivian interiors. I do feel like they have a little bit better wear in terms of, you know, I'm seeing a few small little nail marks like I showed you earlier. Let's pop over here. Also say hello to Oliver. But popping over here, again, just want to show you those after we've actually cleaned this seat up. Where was it? It's right there. That kind of stuff, don't love to see. I have yet to see that on Rivian interiors. They just seem a little bit more robust. Now, another area of topic would be plastics. And I will tell you this from my Kia EV6, this area has just gotten destroyed. And especially back here, you can see a few scratches. Maybe you can't see them quite as well there on all of these very cheap plastics. There you go, back there. That's exactly where it was. So those are permanently into the plastics. And that's why I'm not a huge fan of using a lot of plastics on interiors. I really prefer the way Tesla is doing it by using synthetic leather on basically everywhere, including down here, all areas like this. They just seem to wear quite a bit better in those particular areas. But man, overall, guys, I gotta say, pleasantly surprised with how well this thing is holding up. Just a nice interior clean. Again, look at the driver's bolster. This looks like a brand new seat. So I'm really impressed with that. And I'm also really impressed with how easily and quickly this car cleans up. A lot of cars that I work on, especially with the high grain Napa leather or really high-end leather interiors, the leathers just soak up so much of that dirt and grime, and you really have to scrub to get a lot of stuff out, especially gene transfer, dye transfer, some really deeper stains. And I've always been impressed. This is why I say that I really prefer vinyl or synthetic leather interiors. They just seem to wear a lot better, seem to clean a lot easier. The only negative of certain ones, they just don't feel that good. So I would tell you, if you're feeling like you want a really premium experience in your interior of your 3-row electric SUV, I would definitely go to Rivian for that. Other than that though, man, I've been exceptionally impressed with this car, and it's so nice to just be able to clean this thing up. It feels like a new car. We've got the outside washed, other than Oliver made some nice drool marks on the car, which I'll wipe up. But that is our 1-year ownership experience with the interior of the Kia EV9. Stay tuned. I'm going to be making a video. I don't know if it's already up or if I'm going to put which one up first. Nonetheless, it will be kind of everything ownership experience of this car, talking about the software, the driving experience, how my wife's been liking it, what she likes about it, what she doesn't like about it. She won't be on camera, but I will emphasize some of those. So overall, very, very impressed with the Kia interior and definitely exceeded my expectations. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.